Welcome everyone. Today we will be talking about Farmers Business Network's new Market Advisory offering. We are very excited to be here in Canada with our crop marketing services. On this video today, first I'll be introducing our speakers and they will be talking about our motivation. So why is Farmers Business Network, this membership network and data platform for farmers, why have we gotten into the crop marketing business? We'll talk a bit about our philosophy, what we believe, and how farmers should be thinking about marketing their crops. And we'll cover some of our services and products. And finally, we have one of our analysts on today to give an update on the markets. So first, a bit about Farmers Business Network. So we're about 6 years old as a company, and we are a membership network of family farms across North America. You can see our footprint here, actually missing some dots in Canada, but at this point we have over 8,800 member farms in the network and over 1,100 farms here in Canada. And at Farmers Business Network, we believe that farmers are wedged between some pretty oligopolistic players on either sides, both in terms of how they buy their inputs and how they turn around and sell their crops. And so we saw this opportunity to bring farmers together to share information and to create power in this system. So today we will first hear from Ryan Dennis, who is our FBN Head of Crop Marketing in Canada. Prior to joining Farmers Business Network, Ryan started his career as a grain buyer at Viterra. He also worked as an advisor at Cargill before starting his own advisory business, and we're really excited to have him leading the team here. We will also hear from Regina Javillo, who is one of our commodity analysts here at FBN. Regina has a PhD in ag economics and was previously in market intelligence at Informa. So I will hand it over to Ryan.
Thanks, Amanda. Like Amanda said, my name is Ryan. I'm the head of crop marketing for FBN in Canada. Grew up on the family farm in Dormy, Saskatchewan, and currently continue to be involved with our family operation. Back in the early part of my career, I was an advisor for a large company, and realized that there was a need for independent grain marketing in Western Canada. It's a very competitive space, competitive industry, and growers were and continue to search for information to help gain an advantage in grain marketing. So I'm going to start off with our motivation, but before I get into that, I just want to say briefly that we know harvest has been a struggle in Western Canada for this year and for the past few years. We know that you're all out there getting the crop in the bin, and our thoughts are with you as you wrap up harvest here over the next couple of weeks. So thank you for your efforts, and we appreciate it. So our motivation, basically, when we talk to growers, we hear a lot of the similar themes. First of all, we hear that growers don't have enough time to watch the markets constantly throughout the year. Farms are growing in size. There's more demand on the owners and the CEOs of each farm, and we realize that the markets are moving quickly. There's lots of information out there, and growers are very busy to be sitting in the office and checking the markets constantly. And we hear that time and time again. There's so much information being put out there, and growers are telling us that they're struggling with navigating it and translating that information to their own operation. We also often hear that pulling the trigger to sell is emotional, and I'm less likely to do it on my own. So part of our motivation is to have an advisor on your farm to help you make those decisions, because grain marketing is emotional. In Western Canada, it's no secret that there's a lot of new concrete going up, lots of new competition, and growers are telling us that they're unsure on who's paying the best price today. In fact, just a few days ago, we saw a 70 cent a bushel spread in hard red spring wheat, and those elevators were not that far apart. So who's paying premiums, who needs to fill a train, and how can we extract that information? So again, a big part of it of grain marketing in Western Canada is tracking those premiums and specials, knowing who needs grain and being able to execute on that opportunity. So our marketing philosophy, and I'm going to spend a lot of time on this first part, personalized offering, and basically we tailor a program specifically for your farm. I've been working with growers since 2011, and what I realize, and what growers have told me over the years, is that everyone's cash flow needs are different. Everyone's operations are different. We do a similar thing. We're growing crops and putting them in the bin, but the way we get to that, the way we achieve that is different for each operation. So we sit down with our growers and figure out what your cost of production is, figure out what your break evens are, figure out what your margin goals are, and start to create a marketing plan that fits your farm specifically. Today, there's a lot of advisory services that send out recommendations, but they don't know what's going on at your farm. So we have our advisors at your farm constantly throughout the year, sitting down with you and helping create that plan. Our advisors also spend a lot of time speaking with grain buyers in their area and in your area and figuring out who's got specials, who's got premiums. We help with the negotiation when it comes to grading issues or contracting. It's a very personal experience, and we become a member of that farm very, very quickly. We're also unbiased, which means that we're not going to be compensated for any sales you make. We're completely independent, so our recommendations are completely independent, and you're getting the best pricing opportunity for your farm. We want to show you all of the bids in the area. We want to be extremely transparent, and we want you to take that information and make the best decision that you can. So we're completely unbiased. We don't get any incentives from any of the companies we deal with. Our goal is to work for your farm and execute those recommendations. Finally, systematic, and this is a big one for me coming over to FBN this summer. The support that we have behind the scenes, the data scientists, the economists, all of the experts that we have behind the scenes, and the information that they're gathering and providing for us is second to none. And it really opened my eyes here just a few weeks ago when we were able to look at all of the basis offerings in Vancouver for the past 15 years. That's something that I didn't have access to before. So very, very cool to have all of our scientists and economists behind the scenes. So FBN Market Advisory, I'm going to chat briefly on what you get as a client of ours. And so we're going to dive into this a little bit, but you're going to receive daily newsletters. They arrive nice and early in the morning, nice and short as well with our recommendations. Every report that we put out in your email will have recommendations attached to it. It might be previous recommendations, but they're all there. So they're easy to see and easy to notice. You'll also get a daily podcast as well. That comes out bright and early in the morning, and it talks about the local markets, what's going on in Western Canada, and how is it impacting your farm on that day. We also have a weekly deep dive. It's a longer report, covers a lot of the global stuff going on, and then also has all of our recommendations as well. We send out weather maps, we send out all sorts of information via text and email to your operation. We also have our local advisors, and our advisors, they live in your area. They live in your towns, your neighboring towns. They are there to help you build and execute your grain marketing plan and grain marketing strategies. We spend a lot of time as advisors building our network, building our relationships with buyers, and we spend a lot of time on the phone with buyers every single day, making sure that we extract the best pricing opportunities for our clients. We're always looking at prices, negotiating terms on your behalf, and we're looking to find that best place to sell your grain. So yeah, our local advisors are a key part of our offering and our strength for sure. So diving into some of the program highlights, I wanted to talk a little bit today about some of the features that we have that you might view as a benefit to your farm. So when we're conducting a meeting, um, we will have these meetings at your operation, at your farm. We might have them wherever you're comfortable. If you have a boardroom, great. If you want to meet in a boardroom in town, wherever you're comfortable talking about numbers and talking about your farm, we're going to meet there. We're going to provide a detailed agenda prior to the meeting, and we're also going to provide you with meeting minutes and action items after we've completed the meeting. So the next day or two, we'll send you some action items. So just a level of professionalism around the meeting, and that way we know that you're busy, and we want to make sure that we use your time effectively. You're giving us that time, so we want to make sure that we walk out of there with a game plan. You're also going to be part of a network with a bunch of other growers across Western Canada and across your area, and that gives you an opportunity to learn from other growers as well, and to share experiences with other growers in your region. So networking with other growers, attending conferences with other growers, and just learning from each other on how to continue to improve our businesses. And finally, just the execution part on contracting grain with your local buyers, helping you with those tough negotiations. We also do third-party sampling. So we're going to gather your samples, we're going to distribute them to the grain companies, but we're also going to send samples away for third-party grading so that you're treated fairly when it comes to delivery. So we spend a lot of time and a lot of focus on knowing what exactly you have in your bins and making sure we can extract the best value. So currently we have 3 members of our team, so 3 advisors across Western Canada. We are actively adding advisors. We will be adding another advisor next week, and we're actively looking for advisors across Saskatchewan and Alberta, as well as Manitoba. But currently we have Brittany Nielsen. She's covering Edmonton North, so kind of that northeast Alberta. Brittany comes to us from Viterra. Who grew up on the farm as well and has a tremendous amount of knowledge. Elise is covering Saskatoon North, so that's Elise Potter, and she also resides on a large farm north of Saskatoon and brings a lot of enthusiasm to the role. And then finally, we have Sarah Davis out of Lloydminster. Sarah has 10 years experience as a grain buyer and also provides a tremendous amount of knowledge to our team. And like I said earlier, we continue to expand and hope to have advisors in your place very, very soon. So finally, I'm going to pass it off to Regina. I'm very excited today to have Regina speak to us. And without further ado, you can take it away.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Regina, and just a little bit about me is I grew up on a farm too, but it was a catfish and hay farm. We have some cotton as well. So if you can't tell, I'm from the South, but do have some hands-on farming experience, which I really think helps, helping y'all in the best way that we can, which of course is our #1 goal. So I'm on the Market Advisory Intelligence team. I work primarily with 2 others, but we work across the board with several people. The 2 people I work with most are Walter and Kevin. We work on a daily basis, if not hourly. We're constantly in communication. But then some of the others, such as Satish, Sai, and Matt, we work with these individuals closely as well, looking at various different trades, different strategies that we want to take on, what our opinions are on the market and why we feel this way. So we do all work together as a team, and we're scattered about the US. So some of the things that we do, you may have received some of these, some daily newsletters. So those come out in the morning. There is one for the Canadian producers, and there's one also for US producers. Then on the weekends, you possibly are receiving a deep dive, and this is where we take, we look at some certain markets, certain aspects of particular markets. So for instance, with Canada, canola is a big crop, wheat. We're deep diving into those markets and providing some insight for our readers. Uh, Ryan, him and his team, y'all do daily podcasts. So he is providing some information on a daily basis in the podcast format. In the US, we do those on a weekly basis. Probably what you're most interested in are the price recommendations. So we do offer price recommendations. It's straightforward. You get that information in a text message. You also get it in an email. We include those fresh recommendations as well on our daily and weekly reports that you are receiving. And not only do you have one-on-one relationships with your FMAs, but we also host several in-person events. And these may be local clinics where, we're providing some market insight, but your FMAs are also there, or it could be the big conferences such as Farmer to Farmer. But we do have these in-person events throughout the year because we want to get to know y'all, and y'all probably want to, put names to faces as well. So these are just some example snapshots of some of the things that are included in our weekly and our daily emails. And a lot of times these don't change very much. So you'll see these tables, at least the outlay of the table doesn't change much. So we'll always include our marketing recommendations. So here you can see this is just a snapshot of what we have sold for soybeans and yellow peas, what it looks like. And you can see that we are, making new crop recommendations for the 2020 crop year, even though planting for that crop is far away. Of course, we include market updates on futures, the primary contracts that y'all would be most interested in, and also weather, like what's going on, what has happened, what's in the forecast, and then we, do this across the states, and we think about what's the impact to bases based on weather, or to harvest based on weather. So this is just an example of some of the information that is provided, whether it's in your daily or your weekly commentary. So this right here is showing spot canola basis in Canada. This is an average across the country. And so what we would do with this chart is, first we're going to tell you the story behind it. Here's your basis levels. This is why they acted. If there's a year that sticks out substantially, we'll provide a little bit of backdrop on that. But most importantly, we're going to break that down and give you information that can help you as a producer. So what does this mean for you? So right now, with this analysis that we're doing, so this is just a chart showing the story, and then we're adding commentary, of course. Right now, what our hypothesis is, or what our findings are, is that the spot basis usually climbs pretty rapidly at the end of the calendar year. So you'll see several of these years. You see between perhaps November and then at the end of December / the beginning of January, you'll see some strength in this canola market. And this year, we think that upside gains on these basis levels plus the carry on the board could actually add around $14 a ton between now and the end of the year. So that's the type of, how can this help you? That's the type of information that we are providing, and some of the recommendations that are included in our weekly and daily newsletters. So I threw in another chart, and it's focused on North Dakota, but I wanted to bring this up because y'all are neighbors, and what's been happening in North Dakota. You could argue some of it's also happening and not only South Dakota, but also just north of that state. And what we're seeing is, as y'all know, it's a bad. We've had a rough crop year, delayed plantings, delayed harvest, and what's happening right now, and why this graph is important to you, is that basis levels are up from where they normally are for North Dakota. They're also popping in South Dakota. So there may be opportunities for producers to take advantage of, strengthen bases, even if it's not within a 10-mile radius. If you're willing to take your crop, 50 miles out or 100 miles out, we have the tools that can allow you to take advantage of basis pops scattered across the country. And this is the type of information that we are sharing with all of y'all and that we use to help you make better decisions. So with that, I'm going to switch it back over to Amanda.
Thank you, Regina. So here I wanted to share a bit about our technology tools. So as a Farmers Business Network member and as a member of Market Advisory, you get access to Profit Center in the FBN app. And within Profit Center, you can track your sales, including tracking your break-even and profitability. And as you can see on the screen here, you can also view cash bids locally. And one thing that's cool about this app is that it will account for storage and transportation costs so that you can view cash bids in your area in an apples to apples way. So what's the money in your pocket for one bid versus another? The other thing you can do in Profit Center is set price alerts on your phone. So if you are interested in joining, the FBN Market Advisory is $10,000 a year, but we are currently running a promotion, so it is $7,500, and there are no acre fees, so that is one flat fee for everything we offer. You got the advisor, you got the market intelligence, daily and weekly news service, the podcast, everything we talked about. And you can see on the map here where we have an advisor footprint currently, but we are adding more new advisors all the time, and very excited to be continuing to grow out our advisor team. So if you are interested, you can call 844-200-3276. And you can also text the word advisory to 393939, and we will send you more information. Thanks, everyone.